What's up, guys? Brandon from Boiler Trading here. Time to do a trade recap for the day. Today's August 6th. Here's the daily notes that we ran through today. A little bit of Beyond, Apple, Netflix, Facebook, ROKU, Tesla. Lots of big stuff on there today. You can pause this. You can check out those plays, see how everything played out today. As we go through the stock market, try to predict what happens. So we're looking for the over-under first on Beyond. I was ready set up for a long. It was looking kind of good on the 4-hour chart. Had a nice gap up. Was holding pretty good. Had an attempted pre-break, but of course we got under the 100 EMA there, which is an over-under level. And of course the 4-hour 9 EMA did not hold. That's what we're looking for. We're holding right up in here near that 177.50. If that wasn't holding, short play all day. Rejection of the 100 EMA. That's bread and butter play on Beyond there. Very nice over-under level. Missed the first one. We had a swap bias on a couple of this stuff here. So Netflix, right from the notes, almost hit the gap fill target from last trade day, 300 and below. Now gapped over the split 309. If there's an early split hold of 309, we'll take that long. If it breaks down under that, we'll short it back down into trend. We took a couple of short positions here on Netflix today. Not too much. I only traded 100 shares of Netflix, but we capitalized on about 120 bucks. So I didn't really want to. I didn't trade too much. A couple of very small share position sizes, riding the bouncing ball short, bouncing wave here. So those big presses back up into the 200 EMA here. We're watching for the big M pattern here play out, and that's what I had traded today. So we did get this nice double top. 50 started separating from VWAP, and then we took a short position into the pop from the center M right here. Took the shorts pops here, the nice level 2 entry, and then covered up down here. And then we did have another couple call outs here as it just trailed the VWAP pretty much all day. But real static day. The market's still digesting a lot of this gap down, a lot of this movement. So not really too stellar yet. Facebook. I had the 9 EMA, let's see what we got here, Facebook notes. 9 EMA putting pressure on 4-hour chart already. 184.50 big resistance, 185.50 weekly resistance. The 180 floaty doji support on the daily. Would like to see that dip by to 180. If we don't get that, we're just going to let her go intraday. So again, a lot of stuff is static today, so it wasn't really a huge ranging day today, a lot of digesting going on, but the 9 EMA was putting a lot of weight on Facebook, so it was more or less a pop to short until it sold back down to the 180 level, this white line here. So got a couple pop to shorts here. Facebook is looking kind of choppy. Didn't give up any pre-market levels yet, so it's actually looking pretty decent, but if it doesn't get down to the 180, 175s or 180s, you won't be looking at this one for a bit yet, but that's not too bad. ROKU, scalped a few trades on ROKU today. We had a long bias on this one. I wanted to see a sell-off and an early hold of the first split at 102.50. Clearly it opened up. Didn't get that and it just started flying down, which is fine. We waited for the 200 EMA over under. It snapped it. And then it got really weak. So we see that there was just no bounce, no retrace to the VWAP, 50, 200, nothing. It just started creating lower highs in this little shelf. And I was getting long in here. I was long in a couple different times, and I could have took profit, but I held too long as it kind of came back down here. So I stopped out, and then I seen this micro M pattern being created. So it snapped under the split, and then I snapped a short right here, right at the center of the M body here, 143, and then we read about 140 on it, but we rode 2 different positions down here. Then I scalped one more position short on a 50 retrace here to kind of get back green, and we actually went pretty green on the day on this one. I don't know where my profits are on this one. Let me check it out real quick. Yeah, I ended up with like 403 on the day here, so not a bad little run there on ROKU. So a couple different shorts. We were long biased on it. We swap bias when we seen the pattern develop and the weakness develop on the split. So being proactive. Tesla's still kind of setting up for me. There's a big W on the 4-hour here with big potential after those earnings sells, and we're kind of just getting those pops off a potential double bottom as some of the EMAs catch back up. So I don't think this consolidation will hold Tesla too much. There's a big potential upside here, but from the notes, I was watching from 231.20s for the early split hold, and that was way up here, and a lot of this stuff had to sell down because on a gap up we got to wait for that digestion to sell all the way back down, right? So a lot of the times we got back under the 100 here, which Tesla respects all the time. We just did a video lesson, a couple different measurable lines on there, but pretty good different resistance trail all the way back down, and we hit yesterday's lows kind of popping now. So our last ditch effort here is the 225.60s, and that'll be looking for the rest of the W pattern to form here potentially. We do have this trend intact. I had deleted that line before, but this little 4-hour trend intact here, and that was, you'll see how it scales into today's short, which was this little pop right here, and I had a couple different little lessons we were talking about these. Let me delete these quick. And that was that retrace line. So if it didn't hold this 4-hour line, we were going to go short biased on it from the pre-market. So there that is. So if there's a retracement and a recovery of this line later on, big market pop, perfectly fine. Disney is on the watch today. Now, ER after hours today on Disney. We had a couple different reversal trends here. Big W pattern kind of slowly played out. A couple different long plays we had here, but we're looking for sell-offs as far down as 138.30s, and then the retrace here on Disney. So the 200 EMA hold on the 4-hour to ramp highs was the first initial outlook. So we wanted the 200 EMA to start holding to ramp into highs, but we didn't get that yet, so we sold off and we started looking for split recovery. Now the split ended up at resistance at about 139.50 and came down from there, so we just waited for the bottom. Okay, again, these big gap ups, they tend to fill down in this market, find some supports like these floating candles in pre-market, and then hit. That's why we have the pre-market open, and lows always coded in for a 7 or 9's code here in the elites, and letting this ramp back up. So we had a couple intraday plays on that one, not too bad. BABA. The short call yesterday was 156, target 150. Huge gap up from that. Real static, and we had some really nice holds of the 200 EMA and recoveries of the 100 EMA here, and then a perfect big W here, called back, hit the center, rolled back up. So this static, these dips are being bought. These EMAs are just going to catch back up. BABA did get an upgrade as well, but BABA just in general has been one of those stocks that was beat up a little more than most. So this is why we were looking for that long over 156, where we used it as a short target yesterday. So the daily note said under over 156 for the long. Here's 156 under over from yesterday's play, all the way targeted 150, gapped up. We just used the 156 again for a support this time because we gapped up over it. So it pulled back down into that 156. Missed it by about 10 cents, but again, higher low from pre-market, not by much, but it's there. And then all those dip buy opportunities, they're netting a really nice trend. I think it's going to give it some more time before it does a bigger retrace. Still targeting 161 here on BABA, so definitely some potential there. Shopify. So the last one I'll break down here, but Shopify had a couple good loops here in the morning. We wanted to use the 328 as early support, and then I would have dip blind bought a 322 or a 315 or 318. We didn't really get that because range is drying up, but we did get those floating candles in pre-market to find support again. Those always tend to play out pretty nice here. So, but I did take a couple long dips into yesterday's highs and the first support to scalp up a little bit. I think it was only about $100 winner, $111 on Shopify, but we only traded 25 and 50 shares, gathered a couple points on each trade for these scalps here, because it is kind of a pain in the butt to get into Shopify. It's a little gappy, it's a little choppy. Spreads can get kind of terrible there, so we try not to size up, and just in case we mark it in on some of these higher lows. But long term here, I think Shopify is going to continue up and over 333, and then I think I have room up to, let's see, over under. So if it recovers that, we're going to target about 338.50s long term over that resistance. But I think this really nice double bottom and higher low play is going to play out pretty nice. The 90 EMA didn't cross the 100, held the 100 for a roll, and this one looks pretty good here. So last one I'll do one more is McDonald's, and that was the over-under level right here around 209.65. We didn't pull back down into that, bounced the 200 EMA real nice on the long-standing time frame there. Didn't quite get there, but dip buy nonetheless, peaked back up and had a perfect trend after the big pull. We were looking at Visa for the exact same thing, and I had 171.60s here. Now that acted as resistance because the support didn't hold. Swap biased on that, let it sell off. We're going to let it correct a little bit. We have yesterday's close in the open price. So I'll be watching Visa to get back into this one long. We'll see how the intraday holds here, but this 4-hour definitely has some potential. The 90 EMA is putting a little bit of pressure on us right now. So once it comes back down, it starts holding these tops and creates us a little bit of higher low action there. I still be watching Visa the rest of the week, along with McDonald's, Shopify as well, and then of course the SPY. So we have lots of little things going on today in the catalyst. So as the market digests, we will play accordingly. So see you guys bright and early in the morning.